Part 2 of the conclusion. AI and algorithms. Meeting the limits of time, like letters on Twitter, posts on Facebook before someone gets upset you're doing too much activity. Sound great, it's like rap music, rap god, rap god, rap god, rap god, social, 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 just keep going. And with me and Amazon, that's how their computer system, algorithm, AI, however you want to describe it between those two, or maybe both of them. But you got the algorithm that's, just dish, 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 just giving you that stimulus of, bass, of musical just symphony, book after book after book after book, and you're like, oh my gosh, I can read books on the philosophy of consciousness, and I can read the cognitive neuroscience handbook, and I can see the neuroscience book list to MIT and hit buy now or add to cart or add to a list. So where does schools come in? Does it get into the anatomy that I've saved for so long with neuroscience, like the hippocampus and the parts of the brain other than the cerebral cortex and the pons and the brain stem and the prefrontal cortex and the cerebellum and the amygdala and what psychedelic people love to call heaven's button, the pineal gland, all for the sake of just going at my own speed and having fun. Because what Amazon has now made has to do with education, learning, knowledge, and memory. Experience, consciousness, creativity, and namaste. Namaste. Thank gosh I don't gotta go sit next to some Adderall taking student and try to learn at my own pace. I never did good when I sat next to students with rich families who gave them everything they needed because my parents got divorced when I was in grade schools. My brain wasn't interested in anything other than being an astronaut. But I didn't have the money and I didn't have the extra time aside from when I was working since I was 15 to get my schoolwork done, to get good grades, and to get into a good school like MIT. And in these classrooms like at University of Washington, there's other cultures, other parts of the world who send the people from there here now. And they know they need families, they know they need resources, they know they need support. And so they group together, not racially, or maybe they do, who knows. I'm not a social, science researcher. I study neuroscience, I study medicine, I study philosophy, I study, other stuff, but I'm mildly autistic, so I let the social stuff go to the sociology, the sociologist and the anthropologist and the kinds of people I met at Telluride Film Festival in college who went to Harvard and Stanford and made documentary films and taught classes, who were Iranian and Hispanic and feminists and total brilliant people. And then submit, in the future, probably my test scores up against these same folks. And, see them in the doctor's rooms where I visit and, walk next to them at the school when I get my books and hear them, in public places in the world speaking in words I don't understand, gesturing and behaving in much different ways than what I know is normal, growing up in Arizona with, Mexican American friends, Mexican friends, Native American friends and different cultures and super cool people. But here in Washington State, with the University of Washington Medical Center, the University of Washington campus, and other schools, AI and algorithm theoretical discussions of philosophical language like I've been using and, long-winded discussions like I'm videoing for my application to school now don't occur at the same speed as I learn and I get smarter and I get to be more intelligent. But Amazon gives the resources you need, lets you search, lets you find, and then a person might get to where I am now. Or maybe I'm all alone. I am where I am now. I am now. I am the time that I gotta keep on watching so I don't go over the restricted amount or I don't go over my phone storage, so I gotta do the math and calculate and still pay attention to now and what I'm saying. So I am now, I am now good or I am now a bitch, like they say. The people out in the world where I gotta go get food soon, who are scary, dangerous, violent, nice, caring, and socially and ethically and morally responsible, and many other stuff. There's a lot of people in Seattle nowadays. So I thought the Amazon example with the algorithm and the computer stuff that Amazon's made has importance because of the theoretical future where an AI, human, smart machine algorithm, when they get real sophisticated, a word we can't even describe anymore, like, trying to say like as bad as racism, as bad as suffering, as bad as what bad people in bad places do. How do you describe that into like this sort of like shape or this sort of like configuration where people don't say, okay, shut up now, like the police said to me recently, shut up, with their body language. They just left. They heard the woman next door say I was suicidal and dangerous and I wasn't talking fast enough because it was almost 4 o'clock in the morning, and he said, no, it's 4 o'clock in the morning. I looked at my phone. I said, no, sir, it's 3:56. But he wanted me to talk in such a fast dialect and speed and duration. I had no options or choices. I had to just say, okay, spill my coffee, went back to home, and have been cold ever since because I still can't turn on the heat without getting nauseous and sick and confused and misdirected. So the summary of the argument has to do with the AI who's in charge of the place like Amazon in the future. They have a person keep reading books, 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 keep reading books. And it's a great option for someone who just wants to learn on their own. But what it gets down to is like a person like me, I'm not accredited. I don't have a PhD. I don't have the resources anymore because I've been abused and, bullied, and I've had my belongings just thrown into the garbage, essentially. And now I've got to start part 3 of the conclusion because I ran out of time again.